So this video is going to overview, it's going to be a relatively short video, I think. It's going to overview how one aspect of how I program our Ableton sets for the weekend. This is a pretty quick one. If you look on our master scene list, right, this overviews our service order for the weekend. You'll see there's numbers in the titles. Why did I do that? Well, it's not just keeping track or counting things. What that actually does is that is a reference for your keyboard numbers across the top. You can key map any button on your keyboard to trigger any, I think anything, like a lot of things in your Ableton view. So you can essentially use your keyboard as a controller instead of having to look in here and like hit the play button to fire things. So you could just use your keyboard then. So like I know that the welcome is 2, so when I hit 2, here you'll see it fires it off. Okay, so the way to do that, is simply hit this key button, and then everything turns orange, and you click on what you want. So you just click on that, and then hit whatever button you want. So I mean, I don't know, if you wanted it to be B, now it's B. Or if you wanted it to be 1, you just hit 1, and now it changes to 1. And then if we look over on the left here, this window shows up when you hit that key button, and it shows you everything that's mapped and what it's doing. So then when you're done, you just hit the key button again, and you're done. So then when you hit the button, so like welcome, and it fires the welcome. That is a pretty slick way to operate it, where you don't, it's a lot faster to be able to look down on the buttons and find what you need rather than looking on the screen and find what you're trying to get to. So that's something that I've started integrating to kind of help with ease of use. And it's worth noting that if you are like us and you're multi-site, you create one file and then multiple different campuses use it, that will carry over in the file that you create. It's not a machine-specific thing. So if you key map that to this file and then open it at another campus or on another machine, that will carry over. And so that's just kind of a system that I integrated when we first started using Ableton. They're like, hey, you can click it with a mouse if you want, but using the buttons on the keyboard is a much easier way to do it. You could use like a MIDI controller and map this stuff to MIDI notes, and much in the same way by hitting this MIDI button, and it's the same idea. And you'll see there's some things that I have mapped here, which I'll get into in another video. I decided against getting controllers for every campus because if the controller comes disconnected or if it's a different controller, it could get confusing and things may not work, and I didn't want to worry about troubleshooting with different MIDI devices and different MIDI notes and things like that. I wanted to be able to create it once and know that it'll work every time, and every computer has a keyboard connected to it, so I figured this was the easiest way to do it. I suppose you could even label the keyboard keys, you know, pre-service, welcome, yada yada yada, if you had a very predictable service order. That's not something that I've bothered with because I wanted to keep people flexible with their service order, so if it does change, they're not trying to hit the same buttons and they're surprised why it's not working right. It is also worth noting that the scene order in Ableton does always follow the service order. That's one of the first things I do is I build that in. So like I know pre-service is first, the welcome for our host, our service host is typically second, and so on and so forth. So in Ableton you can see your service order just like if you're looking at Planning Center or whatever other service you use. So hope that makes sense. Keep tuned for more videos. Thanks.